Finally, we got both the high speed and the extended reach ratchet all in one. Just last year, we went to Milwaukee, and at one of the pipeline events, they showed us the new high-speed extended reach ratchet, and we were very excited to see that and couldn't wait until we got it in our hands at the shop. And here we go, the 2568 quarter-inch and the 2569 3/8 drive high-speed extended reach M12 fuel ratchets from Milwaukee. Now, let's not waste any more time. We'll dive in, take a closer look at all of these things, and they're not identical, as you can see. But anyway, we'll take a closer look, and then we'll come back and talk about pricing, warranty, and what we think of it. These are the brand new extended reach, high-speed M12 fuel ratchets from Milwaukee. We have the 2568 and the 2569. I believe that's correct. I believe the 2568 is the quarter-inch, and let's take a look. Yeah, the 2568 is the quarter-inch, and the 2569 is the 3/8 drive. They do not have this in a 1/2-inch drive as of yet. So you can get the extended reach in a 1/2-inch drive, but you can't get the extended reach high speed. So we were in Milwaukee, I believe the end of last year, and we got to see these, but we're finally seeing these hit the shelves and finally got them in our hands. Now, what do we get here? Well, we get an extended reach ratchet, which we had that before. But we also get a high-speed extended reach. So we had the high-speed ratchets and we had the extended reach, but we didn't have a high-speed extended reach. So now we've more than doubled the RPM. The old RPM was much lower than the 450 RPM that we're getting out of both of these tools. Also, both of the heads are the same on the quarter-inch and the 3/8. Obviously, other than the actual anvil is different. But we get the same slim head design on both of these. Now, the torque has dropped a little versus the old one was, I think, 55 foot-pounds, and now they're just 35 foot-pounds. Now, I've said since we started reviewing cordless ratchets that I don't think torque matters much with a cordless ratchet, and I'll explain that in detail when we get over to the torque rig and actually start testing these. Pretty much identical to the body of the other renditions of the family of these ratchets. We're just getting that extended head, and also we're getting that slimmer head on these high-speed models. I'll bring them over to compare the old ones in a moment. We get kind of a plunger-style paddle trigger, if you're not aware or not familiar with the Milwaukee ratchets. And then we get a lockout here that's going to lock that paddle out so that if you throw it in your toolbox, throw it in your truck, whatever, it's not going to engage the ratchet just by laying on it, so you can lock that trigger out. And then also we have an LED right here under the body. So as you squeeze that paddle, it's going to turn that light on, and it'll go off after a few seconds here. But as I was meaning, we really don't have a large paddle. It's kind of pushing the plunger here, but the thing is, it's a large area that we can grasp regardless of kind of how we're holding the tool, whether we hold it way back here on the base and can squeeze the paddle, or we have our hand forward and just want to grab it with our pinky finger. That's going to work as well, and it's not too difficult to squeeze that. So I like that. I like that paddle style, even though it's just a plunger there. That's absolutely fine. It's also variable speed, so a lot of times when you see a plunger trigger like this, it may just kind of turn on or off, but that's not the case on this. You can see I can make it crawl really slow just by barely squeezing the trigger, or I can go wide open and get that full 450 RPM. Now, as I mentioned, there's really virtually no difference on the quarter-inch other than the smaller quarter-inch anvil. I mean, everything down everything on this tool looks about identical. Although, if you'll notice, the quarter-inch drive is a bit shorter as well, so we don't get quite the length in the quarter-inch drive than we do in the 3/8 drive. The body's the same, but just this mid-length kind of shaft through here is what is longer on the 3/8 drive versus the quarter-inch. I did not notice that until just now, so that's interesting to see that. Otherwise, controls, the body, everything else is virtually identical. Now, you can get these as a bare tool. You can also get them as a kit. The kit comes with a single a 2.0 CP battery, M12 battery, and a charger, and the case here. And then if you get the bare tool, obviously you're just getting the bare tool, no battery and no charger. Now let's kind of look at the family of the ratchets. Now I do not have version 1 of the first version of these ratchets. The M12 ratchets was a brushed model. It was not a brushless model, so it was not an M12 fuel. It was just an M12 ratchet. I don't remember the model number, but I do not have that one. Again, like I said, that was a non-fuel model, and no brushless motor, had a brushed motor in it. But several years ago, they came out with the M12 fuel brushless ratchet. And so this was kind of version 1 of the M12 fuel ratchet right here. And this is the 3/8 drive. You can see the size of the head there. This has had plenty of use around the shop, as you can see. I know it's not as beat up as many others out there, but it's definitely had some use. Got a pretty large head on here, and this pretty heavy unit as well. But anyway, this was version 1 of the fuel, and I believe it was 200 RPM, if I'm not mistaken, 200 or 250. And then after that, everyone was saying, you know what, I wish it had the original brushed model, non-brushless or non-fuel model, had a lot smaller head on it. And they said, well, I wish we could get the smaller head with the brushless tool, because this head's kind of bulky on it. And that's when we got the M12 fuel high-speed ratchet. And you see much smaller head on here. I've got a boot on there, so you can't, it throws it off a little bit, but much smaller head, even a shorter tool as well, because it just shrunk all around when they made that smaller head or went to that high-speed ratchet. Then after that, they said, you know what, we really need some more length as well, and they came out with the extended reach. In fact, I think the extended reach came out before the high-speed, but regardless. And so here we have the extended reach model, which again kept that larger head and just made this a bit longer so you can get a better reach into those, you know, spark plugs on the backside of the V8s, or somewhere, you know, reaching back in the depths of the crevices under the hood, and the pain that we know ensues by working on vehicles. So anyway, we got the extended reach version of the original M12 fuel, and that's what we got there. And then we got the high-speed ratchet. And then, of course, everybody said, well, why can't we get the high-speed, extended reach, M12 fuel ratchet? And that's what we have here. So, sorry for the long introduction of the family of M12 fuel ratchets. And again, the older model, or the first generation models, were, again, if I'm not mistaken, I think 200 RPM. And now on the extended reach high speed as well as the high speed, we're at now 450 RPM, so getting a lot more speed out of it. However, on this one here, I think we are at 55 foot-pounds, which is the 2560, if I'm not mistaken. No, 2557, and then the extended reach is the 2560, and those had 55 foot-pounds, or were rated at 55 foot-pounds. And now on the new ones, they're at 35 foot-pounds. But again, I don't think that's a big deal with a cordless ratchet. I see them as nut runners. I don't see them as impact wrenches. Get a right angle impact if you're looking for something to bust bolts loose. Otherwise, I just want it to be able to manually input the amount of force that we need. So, and I believe Milwaukee's rating these at 100 foot-pounds of manual force. So it's something that they stand behind as well. And so we'll use these in just one moment. But let's get a measurement on these and maybe even compare it to the older M12 extended reach as well. So let's compare the 3/8 here. And by the way, we'll tell the difference as well. So the length on the 3/8 with the battery is just over 15 inches. So it looks like 15 1/8. And on the 1/4-inch drive, so the 2568, you're right at 14.5, a little less than 14.5 inches. So looks like it's just over 5/8 of an inch shorter than the 3/8 drive. But anyway, so the 3/8 drive, we're looking at right at 15 inches, just over 15 inches. And the older 3/8 drive M12 fuel, non-high speed, is 15 1/4. So it looks like that we're losing about 1/8 of an inch, but it's probably mostly in that head right there. So let's break out our calipers and let's go here. So it looks like 1.587 inches. And then you see there, you see the difference. So 1.16. So almost a half inch, good 3/8 of an inch smaller there, but that's going to be all around because you see we don't have quite the depth here either. And now let's look at the depth of that. Over an inch, so 1.03 inches, and again, there you see the difference. So just right at just under 3/4 of an inch. So we're saving at least 1/4 inch in depth, as well as 3/8 of an inch in width as well. Now let's bring in a scale. And we're on ounces, and so we'll weigh the older model 48. You know what? Let's go to pounds, ounces. So 3 pounds, 1 ounce for the older extended reach versus 2 pounds, 7 ounces. So you're looking at over a half a pound. You're actually looking at 10 ounces difference. So 9 ounces would give us right at 3 pounds, and then another ounce because it was 3 pounds, 1 ounce. So 10 ounces different, over a half a pound difference on the new extended reach high speed is more than a half a pound lighter with the 2 amp hour battery, actually with a 2.5 amp hour battery on it versus the 2.0 battery on it. So a much lighter tool, and you can definitely tell it in your hand as well. So slimmer, lighter, and faster. And let's just go ahead and we'll weigh 2 pounds, 5.5 ounces. Let's weigh these again, not since I zeroed them out. 2 pounds, 5.5, and then 3/8 is 2 pounds, 7. So it looks like 1.5 ounces heavier. So 2.7, and then, yeah, 3.1. So still the same. So definitely lighter tool, faster tool, and slimmer tool. And by the way, for the extended reach high speed ratchets, the 3/8 and the 1/4 inch drive, you can get the protective boot for there as well. So just like we have on this one here, this will slide over and protect that in if you want to run that. I believe these are $30. Ooh, man, a lot of money for just a slide-on cover. But if you want it, and we've already had somebody ask on social media about do they have the boots for them, yes they do, and the same boot will work on either the 3/8 or the 1/4 inch model. All right, so we've got our old version of the M12 Fuel extended reach ratchet, and then we have the 2 new extended reach high speed versions of the ratchet. We're not going to use the 1/4 inch right this second, so I'll move this aside. And we have a 24 millimeter socket on both of these. And I'm going to go ahead and run out these nuts here. And I'll try to put them as flush as possible. And I'm not wanting to get an exact speed here, but just kind of want to show you the speed difference in between these two, the older ratchet and the new high-speed ratchet. Okay, so I'm just going to try to grab the trigger on both these. We'll see which one finishes first. So you see that one's already finished, and this bolt's about halfway down. So one more. So again, this one's about halfway down. So much faster ratchet on the new high-speed extended version of this tool, which is the 2569 for the 3/8, 2568 for the 1/4 inch. Now, one of the things that people are always interested in is the torque on this, but I don't see torque being a big deal on a cordless ratchet. I've said it before. Get a right angle impact wrench or get an impact wrench if you're looking at something to bust the fasteners loose. Otherwise, I just wanted to be able to lean on it and be able to provide some manual force, break it free, then pull the trigger and let it be a nut running device. Now, at the same time, it does need to be able to handle some drag without you having to pull the trigger all the time, so I get that. But let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and torque these. Okay, I'm going to start at 15 foot-pounds. Okay. 20 foot-pounds. 25. 30. And 35 foot-pounds. So we've got these torqued. Now, do I think this is going to break free 35 foot-pounds? No, I do not. And I'm pretty confident in that because I've seen all the ratchets do the same thing. But again, I'm not concerned about it, but I will show this to you because everybody wants to know. So I'm just going to hold the ratchet steady here and pull the trigger. This is 15 foot-pounds. Doesn't break free 15 foot-pounds. Now, the reason is it really depends on the size of the fastener, the size of the socket. Everything depends on how much force is providing this tool and where the cutout is on it. Now, if I kind of loosen my grip up and just kind of let it be loosey-goosey, it'll probably get enough runoff that it will actually break that free. So watch this. I'm not going to do anything as far as providing force. I'm just going to let it kind of be loose on the fastener and pull the trigger. So it still won't do it. Now let's just see if it'll do on 20. Just maybe there's some oddball on that fastener. Nope. Again, I don't think that's a problem. And here's why. All I have to do, break it free, pull the trigger, break it free, pull the trigger, break it free, pull the trigger. So again, I can't just pull the trigger, but all I have to do is break it free, and I can pull that trigger and it will run the nut off. That's happened on just about every ratchet that I've tested, that it won't hit the numbers they claim that it does. Again, I'm not going to get into specifics on how they test that. I don't think it's a critical thing. I just need it to be able to run that nut off once it gets going and not stop. And I don't have a problem with it doing that. With that said, let's go ahead. I'm going to set this at 100 foot-pounds. Okay, so now we've torqued these first 3 to 100 foot-pounds. Now what I want to know is, can I manually provide enough force to break that free without damaging the ratchet? No problem at all. That's what I want in a cordless ratchet. I want to be able to manually provide input to break something free, and once I tighten something, I want to be able to finish tightening it without any flex in the tool. And again, I don't want to get too excessive. If I'm going over 100 foot-pounds, and I probably need to get my torque wrench or something else, or a longer breaker to actually finish tightening that. But the point is, if I'm doing brake pads, things like that, I can give that manual input without any flex in the tool and without hurting it, and also be able to run those off once you break them free. So it's been several years of development from the first generation of the M12 fuel, and before that there was the non-fuel version, which was the brushed version, and then we got the M12 fuel version, and then we got the M12 fuel extended reach ratchet, with the larger head on these and pretty slow at 200 RPM. And then we got, I don't know, a year or two ago, we got the first high-speed M12 fuel. So M12 fuel, we got the brushless high-speed ratchet at 450 RPM. And then everybody asked right away, when do we get the extended reach version of the high-speed? And voila, here we have it. Now, I know we're probably going to have some haters talking about how much torque and blah, 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 blah. I'm just telling you, I don't know of many mechanics that gripe about Milwaukee ratchets or DeWalt ratchets or Makita ratchets or any other ratchets and say, man, they just don't have enough torque. I'm telling you, most of the people just want to make sure that they can run those fasteners out. Now, yes, would it be great if it was both an impact wrench and a ratchet? Maybe, I don't know. But an impact wrench works totally different. If you ever noticed a right angle impact, you can't ratchet manually. It frees up. You can't do that. With a ratchet, you can. You can manually provide input on tightening or loosening as long as the tool's going to hold up and not have any flex in the body, which it does very well. So I'm happy with it. I love to see the higher speed. I don't have a problem with it not having the torque that they say it does or that we were able to test. Anyway, and all the other ratchets have done the same thing. Now, pricing on this. Pricing is going to set you back $250 for the high-speed extended reach ratchet, which I think the regular extended reach ratchet is also $250. Anyway, $249 for the bare tool. I think if you get it with a single battery and a charger, you're adding $100, going to be at $349. 5-year warranty on the tool. I believe 3-year warranty on the battery if you get the battery and the tool. So check it out for yourselves. We'll have links in the descriptions to each of these, and also you can get the boot to protect the head here for I think that's $29 or $30. So again, we'll have links in the description. Also keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. And if you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already? And by all means, as always, if you hated our video, then give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.